Does anybody else just feel like this country is on a path to being totally collapsed?
New data showed that this was the worst January for workers since 2009.
The collapse has already begun. We're just not supposed to notice.
This country is going to descend into absolute chaos.
The biggest threat to America right now is ourselves. We're not headed for unrest. We're standing on the edge of it. Share and repost this video and let's talk about it. Right now, cities like Los Angeles and Chicago are already in open defiance of federal immigration enforcement. Military and federal agents are clashing with local leaders, protests are brewing, and this is just the beginning. The economy's cracking. Food and fuel prices keep climbing. People can't afford rent. Meanwhile, gang violence, cartel influence, and street-level chaos are exploding in places that already can't keep order. But here's the real threat. The political divide is deeper than ever. The federal government under Trump is preparing to use serious force if necessary. The Insurrection Act, suspension of rights, it's not a theory anymore. It's a live option on the table. This isn't going to be one massive collapse. It'll hit pockets, city by city, town by town, until the fire spreads. And when it does, people won't be waiting for help. They'll be grabbing what they can and defending what's theirs. You still have time, but not much. Prepare now, because when the spark hits, it's already too late.
Does anybody else just feel like this country is on a path to being totally collapsed? I mean, I'm not trying to be rude or hate on the country, but does anybody else just have a sense that we are on a path of destruction? Because all I can see is that the things that once made us great seem to be disappearing. We don't have an industrial empire anymore. We don't build things. We don't do things. Everything gets farmed out. Everything gets sent overseas. We don't inspire anymore. The only thing that we seem to be doing is inspiring people to not come here. We are a empire that has grown to a point that where else can we go? Because every other great empire that's reached a pinnacle point in their lives has crumbled and fallen. The Greeks, the Romans, the English, the China, you name it. Every single major civilization that has grown to an empire status like us has crumbled, and we're next. And it doesn't seem that anybody really cares.
No, they don't.
And all we keep seeing is the
zombies.
politicians just systematically eating away at what used to make us great and what is now alienating us from the rest of the world. So I'm just wondering, does anybody else see it?
New data showed that this was the worst January for workers since 2009. AI is one of the reasons why companies announcing massive layoffs citing AI as a cause. It is not too late for the government to go big, distribute universal basic income to millions of Americans who are going to need it more than ever, particularly for those who right now are struggling to find work.
We're literally losing 40,000 jobs in America right now every week because of AI. And while people are worried about the Zionists, while people are worried about this or Kim Kardashian, who she's fucking, they're coming for your jobs. And basically, people have like 3 years left max to get rich. Because if you don't have your bag by 2029, definitely by 2030, you'll be stuck in perpetual poverty for the rest of your life and with your family. These are the last years left. Because why would anyone pay anyone a real living wage when you can have robots do it for pennies on the dollar? People are going to steal. People are going to loot. People are going to feed their kids one way or another. So the government's going to be forced to give everyone a basic income. That's going to destroy capitalism. You're going to have gated communities for the rich people. And then outside, there's going to be poor zones where you're going to have AI robots, all sorts of stuff. But now it's going to be a little different because it's not going to be human soldiers. It's going to be AI Terminators.
Yeah.
And when those poor people rise up, they're going to send the Terminators and take them right down. So it's not going to be like every single time in history where the poor people just rose up, got rid of the rich people, and then new rich people came to power and the new system came to power. And when you guys riot, they got Terminators coming. They got all this stuff figured out. And I'm telling you exactly what's going to happen. And you guys are going to look at this tape within 5-6 years. And you know what you're going to say? Everyone saw this coming. That's usually how it works.
The collapse has already begun. We're just not supposed to notice. Look, they've told us that unemployment is down to 4%, but those numbers are a lie. If you haven't looked for work in the last few weeks, you don't count. If you're working 2 or 3 jobs and still can't pay rent, you don't count. Right now, over 66 million people are functionally unemployed. Let that sink in for a minute. 66 million. That is a quarter of the working population in America. We should be very concerned about this, but no one's really talking about it. We're getting distractions coming out of the White House. And look, I know there's a lot going on and a lot of things demand our attention. But if we're going to turn things around, if we're truly going to address the systemic issues affecting every citizen, we've got to pay attention. People are collapsing under the weight of inflation and the job market.
Why is it so hard to live in America when you have a regular 40-hour-a-week job? I'm about to go to Tennessee and meet up with my family and take my first vacation that was from my money that I made. And I work 40 hours a week, regular job. I get paid pretty well, but it's not fuck you money. That's the problem. So I just paid all my bills, and then I divvied up how much I could spend on my trip. I don't have enough money to buy food on this fucking trip that I already booked a flight for. And I know there's plenty of videos on the internet of people just freaking out about America's economy. Like, what is going on? What is going on? I'm a grown man, and I was just in tears. I don't understand. I don't understand it. I have no words. I see videos on here of single mothers just breaking down, and they work 3 jobs and they still can't make it. There's a fucking problem.
Hey, yo, politicians, guess what I gotta do for 18 bucks an hour? We're just working out here in the mud, pulling parts. Before you go and say that I could get a better job, 18 bucks an hour in my community is actually pretty good. Meanwhile, my family has to go and get a food box every single Friday so that we can eat. But don't worry, my wife's income helps out too. Her whole whopping $13 an hour for being a teacher's assistant. Before you say I'm complaining, there's actually millions of people out here that are feeling the exact same thing that I'm feeling. So I'm just relating to everybody. Maybe we need a politician that cares a little bit more about the little guy instead of the middle class guy. Because honestly, I'm sick and tired of deciding whether I should pay my car insurance this month, fix my truck, or feed my family. Meanwhile, the hardest decision you had to make this morning was what color of tie you should put on your $5,000 suit. And for everybody deciding whether or not to agree with my video because you think I'm Republican or Democrat, just remember, it doesn't matter. We're all in this together. I'm feeling it just the same way you are. And the only way it's going to change is if we change it ourselves. I remember when this country used to be the land of the free and the home of the brave. Now, it's the land of the fee and the home of the slave. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of being broke. So if you're listening out there, politicians, do something right for a change and start caring about us. And when I say us, I mean the little guys that are below the little guys.
I really don't know how the average American is surviving. I make multiple 6 figures from my phone. But the amount of money that I have to spend to get ready for school and back to school shopping and clothes and food and snacks, especially if you're sending food with them. I make way too much money to get free lunches. On top of the inflation of water and lights and all this shit, because if you don't know, if you're not keeping track of that shit, you should be, because that shit is going up. Like, if I make as much money as I do and I'm like, wow, holy shit, okay, like I'm not struggling by any means, but like, how y'all doing? I know the average American household is not making multiple 6 figures a year. Like, I'm genuinely concerned. Just another reason of why I do what I do.
You need $131,000 today in America to live in a house and to have some level of comfortable living standard where you're not under an amazing amount of financial pressure. If you're below that number, you're missing doctor's appointments, you're missing dental appointments, you're likely missing some prescription drugs that you need to take because lo and behold, told you have to forego certain things as you're doing the rotisserie of trying to meet all your bills. You know, 131,000. If you're on the northeastern seaboard of the United States, you can double it. But I'm talking about the average in the 50 states. The median income in the country is $84,000. That means a very large percentage of the American population is doing without. They've got a busted car. They've got a broken window. They've got a medical procedure that they're delaying. They've got a cracked tooth that's rotting in their mouth right now because they can't get the help that they need because they don't have the money. So what are we doing, guys? Honestly, what are we doing? Is that how we want people to live in this country? What are we doing?
What is the worst case scenario of what we're going through right now that is uniquely crazy?
I don't think what people are really prepared for is if the dollar is no longer the world reserve currency.
Yes.
Like, a lot of the benefits we've gained from the U.S. world order are going to start to go away real fast. I kind of think we're already here. Like, I think that the world is going to get reordered around us. The Europeans and the Canadians and the Australians are going to think they're more reliable partners. The Russians and the Chinese are never going to be reliable partners for us. And I think that we're going to be very alone, and I think that we're going to decline economically in ways that's going to hurt a lot of people. And I think we probably are going to end up in a place like where kind of my middle, like not my optimistic scenario, but my middle scenario is that like we retrench and become more like a France or a Germany, but without the social democracy obligations. But I just mean like in like what role we play, like where we're kind of just like one of the other nations. I think potentially it could turn into more like a Turkey or a Hungary type situation.
Oh, wow. That's a big gap.
Yeah, oh yeah, quite a big gap. Yeah, and they're both significantly worse than our current
France
situation.
to Turkey is a pretty
yeah.
big gap in
yeah.
what...
Yeah, but I'm saying like France is kind of like my like good, like that's a good outcome, I think, for me.
Here's something that a lot of Americans are going to have a hard time accepting and understanding. America is over, at least as we remember and understand it. The United States as a country will continue to exist, but it'll be different. All of us have grown up in a world where America was the dominant global superpower. We were the leading light of democratic nations. Our president was the leader of the free world. Our currency was a global reserve currency. And this doesn't really come from any sort of formal designation. I mean, we're very rich and powerful, but it came from a general belief that we were the leading country. And that's gone now. It's been destroyed. The coalition of nations that formed around us because we were a powerful democracy and treat us as their leader, they're breaking away. Even Canada has broken away from us. Europe has broken away from us. We appear to be most friendly with dictatorships like Russia. They're small and weak and poor. It's ironic given how people treated Biden's presidency as unendurable, but I think we'll look back to it as the last moment that America was the America we grew up in. Nobody trusts us now. They look at us as unstable, as potentially corrupt, as unwilling to follow the rules that govern ourselves, much less everyone else. They look at us as dangerous. We could turn on them, impose tariffs. We could even attack them militarily, even our allies. We could try to annex their territories. No one has any reason to think of us as anything but a potential threat. America derived a lot of its authority from its reputation as the world's intellectual center, the center of all of the leading universities, the companies where people did research, where people changed the world. People are leaving the country. They're going somewhere else. And so the world's going to leave us behind. Why wouldn't they? We're a nation where our leader just yammers on and on about how America is going to bully everyone into line, but they don't want to work with us. They want to leave us to rot and look after themselves. As an American, it's incredibly depressing because it all happened for nothing. No larger policy objectives was served. This is all about, I guess, punishing trans people and hurting immigrants for no reason other than to see them get hurt. And for that, we've destroyed a country that was a leader among nations in so many ways. We could have led the world, and we did for a long time.
This is what our shitty-ass healthcare has come to, where my patients need medicine and supplies, and their insurance won't cover it, and here I am, spending my own money because my patient needs it, and he doesn't have any money, and he can't work. And the insurance won't even cover what he needs. And I'm sad and I'm sick and tired of it.
I'm a doctor, and even I don't understand how this works. I just left the pharmacy where I was picking up a super common generic prescription for one of my kids, and I'm fortunate enough to have insurance, and so when they ran it through insurance, it was $31, $32, something like that. Keep in mind that this is like the most commonly prescribed antibiotic. Generic, it's been around for decades. This is the price that my insurance company has negotiated with the pharmacy supplier for them to pay, but I have a high deductible, so it comes out of my pocket. So I tell them I don't want to run it through my insurance, I'm going to use GoodRx instead, and the price was $5. Like, why is my insurance company negotiating a price that is like 6 times higher than the GoodRx price, which means the pharmacy is paying like $1 for it? I work in healthcare, and this doesn't even make sense to me.
This country is going to descend into absolute chaos. And I really fucking hope the American people understand that we are not each other's enemies, and that the real enemy is this fucking billionaire class that's doing this on purpose because they will be safe. And then I see Rachel Maddow make a post about how the New York Times talks about how the price increase in healthcare is going to go up. Some people are looking to, I'm not even kidding, $25,000 more. I want to know who can afford that. And just so you know, if you're thinking, oh, well, then I guess I'll have to go on Medicaid. If you make more than $30,000, they expect you to pay this stuff. Sending Argentina $40 billion, and they're taking away SNAP for the month of November, screwing over American cattle farmers. All of this is oddly timed for winter time, you know, when people can't grow their own food and stuff, may freeze to death without heat. Yeah, when you're in the streets fighting against your neighbors or whatever this civil war is supposed to look like, they're going to be in their billion-dollar bunkers, hundreds of million-dollar bunkers that are super safe, away from everything, with all kinds of luxuries, getting massages and stuff, while we are, you know, people, do not let them trick us into this, please.
And the zombies just roll on, as you see right here in this last clip here on this video from What's the Deal. A lot in that video. A lot of people had some things to say, and they were all true. America is on its way out. They just haven't told you yet. It's done. It's over. And the economy's been completely broken since 2020, which Dylan here on What's the Deal Substack exposes. And I guess he's been exposing it for a long time, but I didn't discover him until one of you guys shared him with me last month, because we've all been pushed to our dusty corners of the internet. But mainstream is starting to copy his work now that he's been writing about since 2020. Psychological effects, collapse of the American old world order, and hyperinflation. That video did depict the continued psychological effects of the end of the American old world order and the US dollar hyperinflation on the American population while not being conscious of it. Like one lady said in that video, as you heard and saw, it's collapsed, it's already over, but they just haven't told us yet. And that's what we're going through right now. And we've talked about this before. So, like it says here, the video above depicts the continued psychological effects of the end of the American old world order and US dollar hyperinflation on the American population while not being conscious of hyperinflation beginning in 2020, or the official and continued end of the American old world order beginning in 2019 with COVID-19. And so, peniophobia, while younger generations have a debilitating fear of poverty and destitution because the U.S. has already collapsed. I've never heard of that peniophobia before, but there it is. Fear of extreme poverty or destitution. Yeah, no kidding. Because while the U.S. mainstream media continues to lie and says that inflation came in super low at 2.4%, and then what was it the other day? Oh, the U.S. economy is hotter than ever. We gained hundreds of thousands of jobs. It's all baloney. Because the hyperinflationary collapse of the U.S. dollar is not coming. It's already here, and it's happened. And unemployment's following it now. Unemployment year over year in January was what, 118% higher? And it's first and only reported by What's the Deal since 2020 to present day. It's what he's been reporting on, this hyperinflationary collapse of the American economy and the US dollar. The collapse of the American old world order is not coming, it's already here, and it's been happening since 2019. It was officially declared on live TV. And you can watch it with this link. As first and only reported by What's the Deal since 2019 to present day with continuous updates. Peter Schiff does not even understand this respectfully because he's too well off and detached from the bottom 90% of Americans and their living standards while not yet understanding the academics behind the beginnings of the 2020 US dollar hyperinflation, and he still thinks has only just begun. What's the Deal has an in-depth, specific, and academic answer as to why and when the US dollar collapse truly begun. So what is Peter's specific academic delineation or distinction as to why the collapse is only now happening? For 99% of Americans, whether they know it or not, hyperinflationary currency collapse is more than palpable, as seen in the video above, as I just showed you, especially at the grocery store and all nominal US dollar prices. The wealthy or the more well-off are usually late to the proverbial collapse party because the initial first several years of economic depression and or beginning stages of hyperinflation are not felt until the latter by themselves. So I'll let you read the rest of this on your own. But, wow. The bottom 90%, like he says here, have been feeling the collapse since 2020. I know my wife and I have. And it's only by the grace of God that we still have a roof over our heads, vehicles to drive, food to eat. It's without God's assistance, without you guys and your support, we would be on the streets too, as millions of Americans are today. People that are actually working. We have the working poor, the homeless poor, who are actually working multiple jobs in a lot of cases, but they still can't afford housing. That's going on everywhere. And it's not easy to find a job in the first place. Places that are hiring, well, like for me, I'm 58, I'm aged out for the most part. And then, of course, when they ask me what I've been doing for the last 15 years and I show them this, well, they usually run for the hills at that point. But the US dollar began hyperinflating with 2020, with businesses collapsing and mass layoffs continuing to this day. And there's another chart to show you that. We've talked about this last week. So I'll put the link up for What's the Deal as a Substack blog here. I think you get the point. And that's it for this particular episode. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.